Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy, my channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to go through Twitter, see what people are sharing on social media. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go through it, generally related to three different topics: wealth building, commodities, and/or financial topics. So let's dive right in, take a look, see what's going on today. If you want to follow me, it's at Finance. And if you want to join our community, finding-value.com, where I dive deeper into all these topics, subjects, sectors, looking for investment opportunities and sharing those opportunities with everyone in the community. I use technical analysis, ratios, and market cycles to determine sectors. I do time my purchases. I think I'm at least decent at timing those purchases. And that's what you get. You get midweek updates that are released Tuesday late, and question and answer sessions on the weekend. And I think that's the most um, efficient way to communicate with the members and also to deliver the most value to them. Special is the coupon code if you'd like to join. It's $25 off the first month only on a monthly membership, and a $100 discount on the yearly membership if you'd like to go directly to a yearly. And you can always swap from a monthly to a yearly if that's what you wish to do. So he says, if you're short oil, I've got some bad news for you. The correlation between crude oil and the 5-year break-even inflation rate is deeply negative right now, which is a rare event. Historically, whenever this weekly correlation stayed below minus 0.35, the following 12-month performance for oil has been extremely bullish, up 82% of the time with an average gain of 32%. This is the WTI 20-week correlation with 5-year break-even inflation rate, and it is at a low. Very similar to late 2020, which was a stellar entry point for oil back here. We also had another pretty low point at the bottom, off the bottom move in the September-October 2020. So this is a little after 21, and this one's right before 2020. Now, when I go and I look at crude oil, I hear a lot of people talking about crude oil, that some people on the internet think that gold and silver and precious metals are going to continue higher without crude, and crude is not going to move on up. My question is, when in history has that occurred? Now, they take their turns going back and forth. Totally agree with that. We are in cycle for sure of gold and silver rocketing higher, and everyone has noticed. And oil has lagged behind. So my question would then be, when has gold and silver led and oil never followed? Is there a time in history where that's occurred? If the answer is no, then why is it different this time? And isn't that the most dangerous words to be spoken about the markets, that this time is different? I go and I look at the US oil chart to see what that looks like. And I took the fractal from last bull market and stretched it over the current fractal that we have. We have a 3-hump consolidation, a 3-hump consolidation. We have wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in Elliott wave. We've got 1, 2, and we haven't gone into wave 3 yet. There's 4 and then there's 5. So I would say that we are precisely at wave 2, just like a lot of other commodities, like copper, like fertilizers, like dry bulk shipping, like coal. And they are all, and uranium, don't want to forget uranium there. And those are all heading higher. And you think that oil is not going to partake in this. Why? Because everything that I'm seeing here kind of correlates with the commodities bull market. So I'm really bullish on oil. I think it looks fantastic. The equities have already bottomed and are heading higher, and the physical price hasn't moved yet. Now, when will it move? I don't know. But it's in position and looks very good from a charting perspective that I use. And I think it looks very right for a potential move higher at any point. So that would be my take on oil here. Coming down, we've got gold, value bro, and oil. You know, there's a couple of sayings, a couple of quotes. The quotes are, everyone knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. Oil right now is a hell of a value when looking back at history. Price oil in gold, price oil in platinum, price oil in against equities like the oil to SPX ratio. And in fact, I think those, we'll pull one up. We'll do US oil divided by SPX. And I forgot to put the divider there. So oil divided by SPX on a long-term time frame, that is squeezing up into a corner here. I can't think of much of anything else that looks more bearish or more bullish than this. Usually you squeeze into corners and then you break out of these corners. This is one of the most bullish charts I've ever seen. And yeah, I'm super bullish on silver. Silver looks fantastic. I get it. It's got a 45-year cup and handle pattern. It's not the pattern. It's the rates breaking out. What is coming, and I know a lot of people talk about supply and demand all the time. I'm just going to say this. Bonds are not going to be a viable option, and if interest rates continue higher, stocks are not going to be as juicy as they look with interest rates going up. Money is going to get forced into hard assets. And yes, a good share of that is, I'm sure, is going to hit the precious metals arena. I guarantee it. But oil in a chart that looks like this on this ratio, it's all sorts of squeezed up. I am not betting against that. I am betting with that. That's what I'll say. You can also price oil in, say, gold. So there's the 3-hump consolidation and a falling wedge. We've broken out and we've been consolidating ever since that move after the breakout here. Oops. Let me grab this. Breakout, and this is what's known as a retest. So we are having a pretty big retest. Maybe it's not done, maybe it is. Maybe we've got a double bottom going on. Maybe we've got a shoulder, head, shoulder inverted. And we'll come back up and break our way on out. If this occurs, that's going to be total domination if you hold any oil down here. I mean, total domination, which I think is going to occur. I'm in the camp that this is not different and that we are in a normal, well, it could be a little bit different, a little bit nuanced, where we've got more money in the system, more debt in the system that's going to amplify the move to the upside. But I think commodities are going to follow gold just like they have in history. Gold is climbing out of a massive base relative to Papa Dow or the Dow Jones, printing fresh multi-decade highs. That's what we see in bull markets for commodities. Commodity bull markets are led by gold, and gold is ripping. No denying that. And people gain confidence. They gain confidence when gold's going up. They gain confidence in anything where the price is moving in the direction that they want it to go. And then they make narratives around it. You know when a good time to buy is? When people say that something isn't going to follow gold, like oil, or steel, iron ore, or copper when it was down, or lithium when it was bottoming here just recently. You know what I buy? I buy the stuff that no one's talking about. I buy the stuff that no one's looking at. And everybody gets excited when the price goes up. They know the price of everything and the value of nothing. And that extends across all of the things that you watch. The YouTube clips that you go and search for. YouTube is a manifestation of what people are searching for and what they want. More views, more clicks, I'll post more of that. How do you get views? You get views by posting the things that people are looking at. They're looking at gold, so let's post gold and silver, right? That's where the views are at. And it's no fault of the YouTubers. That's what they do. They want views, they post what the views get. But when investing, you kind of have to step back and say, okay, where are the views not at? What are people not searching for? And if you're really good, you'd be posting that at bottoms, right? But you're not going to get any views on YouTube. If you don't get views, why post it? So how does a really good investor get views and post about the things that people should be buying, but they don't even know they want? It's tough, isn't it? Egon says, biggest wealth transfer in history from paper to real assets. I agree. Stock, bond, and property holders will have the shock of their investment life. Against real assets like gold and silver, the above bubble assets will fall by 75 to 95%. For wealth preservation, own physical gold and silver. The biggest wealth transfer in history from paper assets to real assets. And this is the Dow gold ratio over time. Right here in 1914, right before this big volatility in this ratio, we didn't have a Federal Reserve Bank. After that, we got huge volatility, big boom and bust cycles. And we're going to go into a bust cycle where where real assets outperforms financial assets, paper assets. It says, will the Dow be 10,000 and gold be 20,000? Or will the Dow be 25,000 and gold be 50,000? What's my guess? They can't let I don't think they can allow the Dow and S&P to deflate. I think they're going to inflate the living crap out of everything because they don't want tax revenues to fall, both on a state and federal level. That's my guess. Joseph Brown says, every argument for government boils down to people are morons and shouldn't be able to make decisions for themselves. And to be honest, it's a pretty compelling argument. Until you realize that government itself is just a bunch of morons that also happens to be power hungry, self-interested, and often malevolent. And they are the ones who make your decisions for you. I just shared this because it's pretty true. You know, when I was young, when I was in college and graduating, I thought the world was so much different than what it actually came out to be. I thought people were way smarter. I grew up in, an area where the kids were pretty smart, and went to school, college, and the college kids were pretty smart too. And I thought everybody was pretty smart, to be honest. Then I got out and I was like, okay, this is way different. They're not as smart as I thought. Never mind. And then as you go along, longer and longer, you realize that, things aren't based off merit. They're not based off, it doesn't deal with hard work necessarily. It deals more in favors, deals more in who you know and how you act to those people that, let's just say, are in power, so to speak. So, yeah, I agree with this quote. And the more I look into things, the less confident I get in the system, is what I'll say. Here's Blunts. Uranium is the picks and shovels way to play this decade-long AI-fueled energy bull run. I disagree. I completely disagree. Maybe next decade, not this decade. I think uranium is going to go up. Totally agree with that. We're in a commodity bull market. I can end it there, right? I think the play is actually natural gas and coal. I think we're going to get really, really desperate. And the swing fuel is not uranium. The swing fuel is coal. So at first, I didn't realize how much electricity demand was actually coming. I thought it was going to be stable, much like the 2010s. But now with AI and LNG takeaway capacity and coal being phased out, at least in America, somewhat. I don't think we've got the natural gas to fulfill all this demand. I just don't. Not electricity and LNG takeaway capacity combined. I just don't. I don't know if we've got it, and we'll see. Obviously, I could be wrong there. I think coal with the swing producer. I think coal is going to be big on a worldwide level, and I'm gaining more and more conviction in coal and natural gas being awesome too, but more and more conviction of coal because we have the assets and the infrastructure in place to do it. If you don't have the infrastructure and the assets in place to do it, well, how do you get that? So I don't know if we're going to be building nuclear in the 2020s here. I don't think we can build it that fast. I think maybe mid 2030s or something like that. But I think the next decade, I'm going to say it's going to be the next decade of natural gas and coal. And I think that's what they're going to turn on. They're going to hit that pretty hard. And they're showing the power demand from AI data centers to quadruple in 10 years. I don't think uranium is going to make it in 10 years. I don't think the small modular reactor is going to be there. So I think they're just going to say, screw it. Let's throw in natural gas. Let's throw in coal. I don't even know if natural gas can keep pace with it. And it's not natural gas, the fuel itself. It's the turbines and stuff. But everything is sold out. I mean, we got to make a whole bunch of electricity generation. What about the grid? This is going to be the decade of copper, of power transmission. It's going to be crazy on a whole bunch of fronts. And you don't have to play it only in one sector. Play all the sectors. Play coal, play uranium, play natural gas and oil and copper and iron ore and aluminum and all the stuff that goes into all this stuff. Sam Gatling says the price has to stop going up before it can go down. I think he's talking about gold there. It's been ripping. Here's gold. Obviously, good lead in. It says the gold monthly RSI at 91 is insane. That's overbought. And then there's price doesn't matter. You are here. Now, relative strength indicator, it's at 91. Are we going to get a big pullback in gold? I have no idea. Would I sell my gold? No, I wouldn't. What am I going to do? Go transfer into dollars that they are basically incinerating? I'm not going to go sell my gold and go to incinerating dollars. The trade is gold and silver and platinum and palladium. Now, I don't know if it's going to go up at the speed that it continues to go up, but what if it keeps going? Does it feel like we're going to print less money? Does the government have our deficits under control? I think quite the opposite. I think rates are going to go up, and they're going to be in a pretty bad situation with interest expense. And this debt keeps rolling over at faster and faster clips. 10 years roll off, they release treasury bills because that's the only spot where demand exists. I don't know. It's a tough one here. It says world fiat money in process of being revalued in gold and silver and then soon oil. Enjoy the show. Totally agree with that. But you know what? Everyone knows the price and not the value. Hey, look, the price of gold's been going up. So what do? They just chase. That's all they do. Everybody's chasing crap. Let's go chase gold. Let's go chase silver. It's moving. You know what you need to chase? You need to chase value. Where were you, or where weren't you, before gold and silver took off? You should have been buying it in 2018 and in 2022, 23, 24. You should have been buying silver and platinum. You know what people told me? Andy, why are you buying platinum? It hasn't moved in 14 years. You know what I told them? I'm buying it because it hasn't moved in 14 years. Two different conclusions from the same statement. You know why I like oil? Because it hasn't moved. And it moves behind gold and silver. It says, I want to give a huge shout out to those who keep shorting the miners. If it weren't for your lunacy, I wouldn't be making so much money right now. GDX continues to rip, and we've got the highest short interest on it. They just keep getting squeezed. Is it going to pull back? I don't know. Does it matter if I know? Do you need to predict this? What if you bought GDX here and here? Wait, that's kind of what we were doing. Wait, that's exactly what we did. Now, it may not be GDX. We might be getting GDXJ or SILJ or some of these higher leveraged ones, and junior mining companies and some gold producers that are up 5, 6, 700% now. What did you have to do? You get in early when no one's looking. They call you morons. And then you sit, and now you're sitting on gigantic gains. So how can you do that? How can you buy stuff that's out of favor and that's low, and then have the patience to sit and wait for a couple years for this to develop? That is called learning the game. That's learning strategies. Another one from Sam, it says, platinum futures are approaching my first target at this big breakout here, and it's at 1688. We're going to get up to 2240 probably pretty easy, I'm guessing. All you had to do was buy it below the cost curves here in the least risk, best reward entry of any metal at that time, and probably almost in the history of the market. How do I know that? Well, price platinum and gold. Price platinum and gold, and we were back to the 1800s of how cheap that ratio is. 1800s. You're not going to buy an anomaly? To me, things look so obvious. To everyone else, oh, it hasn't gone up. They know the price of everything and the value of nothing. Palladium, strong weekly close, long white candle will confirm the breakout from multi-year long base. It's a double bottom base. There's a falling wedge before this into a double bottom and a breakout. Totally agree. What's everybody looking at? Price. You could have bought this if you wanted to. The Japanese are buying gold at a faster pace than they are buying dollars as their currency collapses. Policymakers need all stock markets to rally to absorb the extra money sloshing around. Every yen, dollar, and euro they need does not buy into the bubble gets allocated to something else. Gold, silver, and Bitcoin. And that is why stocks are screaming in Japan along with gold. That is why the U.S. is now encouraging gold ownership. That is why we will have a global debasement of all fiat. It's already debased. Now it's looking for a home. That home is not fiat. That's what's happening. That's where we're at. Nobody wants bonds in a debasing fiat currency. So if they don't want bonds, they don't want the currency. Well, now it's just how fast can you exchange it into real things, into assets. Now, S&P 500, it's working right now. It's not working as good as gold and platinum and silver, as you can see from this potential chart that I'll pull up. We'll do XAG USD divided by SPX. And what do you see? We're getting a breakout here. That's called a rotation. Then what I think is going to happen is going to be ugly as all get out because people aren't going to be ready for this. We're going to break this big pattern to the upside. And that world, no one has seen what that world looks like in the history of mankind. That is alive today. That is a completely different world. Completely different. And that's it. That's where we're going to end it. So that's what I've got for today. Give me a thumb up. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website. Specials at coupon code. We've got a Sunday question and answer session coming up this weekend. Sunday at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. All right, guys. That's all I've got. So we'll catch you next time. See ya.